Episode 3 of Level 1 Demon Lord and One Room Hero. The episode where we really raise the tensions and we lack a lot of the comedy, but we get a lot of story. Now, the first episodes of this show I thought were good in their own way, especially episode 2 I thought was a step above episode 1. Episode 3, again, I think is a step above episode 2. This episode was not that filled with humor and comedy. There was some, but not that much. The main focus of this episode was definitely on the characters, on the interactions and relationships between some of our characters and our initial adventure party, and a lot of story and developments in this world that can have a big impact on the storyline moving forward, and will probably be a focal point for where the season goes from here. I have to say, I am liking this show so much more than I initially thought. I really did not expect that this show would be so good in the ways that it is. In this episode as well, just how many notes I make in terms of the storyline was way more than I expected I would. So in this episode, we finally get introduced to Fred properly, also known as the cleric, the person that was the third in their party back in the days of fighting the Demon Lord. We get introduced to him basically scamming the congregation he was the head of in this small village, selling these charms against the demons that don't really do anything. But he protected them still in his own way, having a barrier around the town, clearly being a powerful magic user and cleric in his own right. We do get to see some backstory, both at the beginning of the episode and at the very end, of Leo, Max, and Fred forming the bonds of kinship and friendship and companionship as they teamed up to defeat the Demon Lord way back when. And that also parallels a lot to their relationship now, as we find out in this episode that Leo, the former warrior friend of Max and the rest of the party, defected from the kingdom some years ago and created his own, let's say, force, and is now part or the leader of the new Gamma Republic, I believe they called it, which is a newly created nation just 3 years back that is now occupying some of the northern territory of the kingdom. Now, this in and of itself will create a lot of tension, and you can see when it is mentioned to Max, like what does he think of this when he is asked by this reporter of the betrayal of Leo and what he's doing now. You can see him tense up, yet not say anything and keep walking, displaying a lot of emotion without even saying a word, and how that relationship has soured, and how betrayed he might feel, how angry he might feel, or maybe even how hopeless he might feel with how things have turned out. And that is now ex-friend has turned to this. We also see from Fred, when he visits Max's house, that their relationship is far from what it used to be. Fred might pretend that, they are still good friends and he reminisces to an extent, but clearly the kinship they once had is far from the same and has in many ways faded, though it might still to some extent be there deep down. This episode I thought started out more in the humoristic side, but it definitely really quickly took a turn for the more serious. I did very much enjoy, though, the comedic moments when he is just walking out randomly on the street, and this reporter journalist comes up and asks him about the video of Senya running naked after him in the streets of the town, being like, "Who is she? Is she underage? Did you have sex with her?" It's like, god damn it, dude. Journalists, they never fail. And of course, even trying to follow him back home to catch him in the act. Goddamn journalists, dude. Yeah, then we go from this comedic moment right to the meat and potatoes and the serious parts of this episode, which I thought was really good. You have Fred coming in here to Max's house, and first of all, after the reminiscing, sits down and wants to talk about Leo and his rebellion and the new nation he is now heading, and the areas he is occupying, and that his military force is growing by the day. And he ends up actually, surprisingly, begging almost, or pleading for Max's help, saying that, come out of retirement. We need your help to put an end to this rebellion, to put an end to Leo's betrayal. If you don't help, many more will die, on both sides. There will be turmoil, there will be war, there will be countless death on every side. But if you come help us, we might be able to stop this before it even starts. And around that, there's a lot of complexities to consider. Clearly, Max has a lot of feelings around Leo and his potential betrayal and how he left things between them and what he's now doing. But Max as well, he doesn't want to fight him, assumingly. He still cares for him, I assume, and doesn't want to end up actually having to fight to the death between two old friends. At the same time, as he says to Fred, even as Fred pleads for his help in this matter, is that no, I'm retired, but as he further says, I don't care. The kingdom, the republic, whatever else, I don't care. They can fight to the death if they want to. Not my problem. I'm retired. Which indicates as well just his complete apathy to the nation he once risked his life to protect. That now, seemingly, after how he has been treated, how he has been thrown in the ditch, mocked, made fun of, and just thrown to the side by society, seemingly he has no love for the country he is part of anymore, or where he was from, and couldn't care less if the nation crumbles or if someone else takes over. Well, why does it matter? That aspect as well I found very interesting in this episode. Just the entire interaction between him and Fred I found really interesting. Especially as well that after Fred tries to plead the kind way for his help, mentioning that, hey, you must be running low on savings by now. You must not have a lot left. Come back, help the royal army to end this rebellion quickly. And you're sure to get a high rank as well later. Trying to entice him, right, as well. But no, Max showing he is not interested. But then after, Fred turns more to the dark side, saying that, hey, if you're not going to come willingly here, I know that the woman that was chasing you is a demon. For now, only I know, but if I leak this information, God knows what will happen to you. It will be the scandal of the century. You'll be branded a traitor. You might even be prosecuted. You might have to leave the nation even. So quickly turning to outer blackmail. That might, I suppose, be a sign of his desperation that he needs the great warrior Max to come out of retirement to help with this crisis, or looming crisis, but still showing that he is willing to do anything to do this. Even utter blackmail, which you would probably say, the same as me, is not something a friend would do. It's not something a companion or someone with a deep kinship to you would do against you. So definitely showing how strained or bad the relationship has become between Max and Fred over the years, since the Demon Lord was defeated. You see another notion of this when Max looks at his sword when Fred is about to look in the closet, sensing this presence there, and Max in that moment potentially considering to raise his sword against Fred to maybe not protect the Demon Lord, but to safeguard the secret that he is there and to avoid issues, potentially. So clearly, the relationship is not what it used to be. Fred is also apparently like the chief executive or chief assistant, whatever, to the Magic Bureau, so clearly he is well established in his position there. We do get another comedic moment with a ghost that we have seen in multiple episodes past but never mentioned, that apparently only Fred can see, I assume because he's a cleric, and he is shitless scared and runs out of the house after he sees and never wants to come back. But yeah, this episode definitely raised the stakes, and this episode really made me love the show even more, as they dialed back some on the comedic elements, yet still made a very fun episode, having a lot of meat to it, a lot of purpose and meaning to it. And I'm really excited actually to see where they take this story and this plotline and these characters and what they do with them. All the complexities they just added in this one episode with Leo and Fred, the betrayal, and all these underlying factors now that he might have to get involved or his life will be turned upside down even more than it already has, is very intriguing. So I am all for it. I am super excited to see what else this show has to offer. It is definitely one of the dark horses this season, and it deserves way more love and attention than it currently is getting, in my opinion. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode review. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Also, feel free to leave your own comments below on your thoughts on the episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? If you have any questions or anything else, also feel free to leave them below. I will respond to the best of my ability. That being said, go watch this anime right now. I think it's an absolute great blend of comedy and more serious issues and plotlines. And I will see you all in the next video. So, bye-bye.